With the new season of Blue Lock being announced, I think it's perfect time to talk about the arc that will cover most of season 2 of the anime. For us manga readers as well as curious anime watchers who may have seen the thousands of videos hyping this arc up, I think we all know what this arc is. It is no other than the Japan vs Blue Lock U20 match. This arc is and will arguably be the best and most hyped arc of the entire Blue Lock manga or anime. But why exactly are so many people around the Blue Lock community dick riding this arc, you may ask? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you why the Blue Lock vs Japan U20 match was the most deserved hype arc we've had thus far. With that being said, let's get into the video. Alright, starting off, we had all of Blue Lock working together for the first time. Blue Lock as we know it from day one was about surviving in order to become the best striker in the world, by any means possible. We've seen betrayals, NTR, goal stealing, slur calling, fights and all sorts of things that have happened thus far in the show. What I'm trying to say is that from the beginning of the show, players have all been antagonizing each other. Suddenly, they're supposed to work together? My first time reading the manga, I remember asking myself, how is I'm about to come, a guy who thinks he's some monarch from 1729, and an edgelord going to even play on the same team without fighting 30 seconds into the game? Fortunately, that didn't happen. But yes, back to what I was saying. The remaining Blue Lock players were supposed to play on a team. This was the first time our players we've grown to love and hate were all on the same team, whether it be as subs or starters. It was kinda refreshing to be honest. All the players had to put aside their differences, rivalries, and grudges towards one another in order for Blue Lock to stay alive. It was kinda like when the characters in a game or story who have been opposing each other finally team up in order to beat a greater enemy. Our 6 best players besides Shiro up to that point in the manga were all playing together as well as many others. Isagi and Rin's rival dynamic was what made it so great as well. It was well put together how for the entire second selection Rin was Isagi's rival, but now they're working together, obviously still being rivals. Many new chemical reactions and dynamics between players were introduced or revised which allowed for this game to be so enjoyable. Also, the rarity of this occurring also made this even better. The U20 vs Blue Lock match is the only time that we've gotten all the best Blue Lock players playing in the same team. The only time this is likely to happen again is in the U20 World Cup, which is months away from starting in the manga and years for the anime. So obviously this is something that we have to cherish. We move on to one of the primary reasons why this match was so intense and engaging, Itoshi Sai. At the beginning of the story, Sai is introduced as some prodigy of Japan. He was considered to be one of the new generation World 11 players, so it was implied that he was outstanding. For the first time ever in this Blue Lock U20 match, we would have gotten to see Itoshi Sai play, and he didn't disappoint. Itoshi Sai, who seemingly did not break a sweat for this entire match, was without a doubt the highlight of this game. Every time that he had the ball, it was trouble. With his crazy line-driven shot from a tight angle, he was able to break the ice, allowing Japan's U20 team to score. For the majority of the game, Itoshi Sai was able to dominate when he had the ball. For the second half, we now had Shiro, who was the only person in Blue Lock that Sai's playstyle was able to coexist with. As most of us know, Shiro was someone who could not form chemical reactions with anyone in Blue Lock. But in this game, Itoshi Sai was able to bring out 200% of Shiro's true potential. It is important that we also talk about Sai and Rin's dynamic as well. From the time Rin was introduced, we were shown that he utterly despised his brother Sai. Like you can't tell me Rin was not basically obsessed.
Pause.
We had so much tension going on between the two brothers. We finally get insight on the reason for the brother issues through a not so sad backstory. I honestly feel bad for Rin. Sei probably got bodied by Luna, causing him to lose his dream of becoming the best striker in the world. Now he's taking his anger out on Rin. But aside from this, Sei really did bring out the thrill in this game, because without him, it would have just been Aiku on his own. Sei did not only bring out the best in Shiro, but there was visible results of improvement in everyone on the pitch. Him playing allowed for Blue Lock and some U20 members to enter the flow state, which we will talk about soon. Another thing that Sei greatly contributed to was Rin's awakening, which we will also talk about in a bit. With that being said, let's move on to the next one. At the end of the second selection, we get news that Itoshi Sai will be playing for the Japan U20 team, and a team of 11 strikers must be built from the remaining 35. We fast forward to the end of the third selection and all the starting players are announced. We have our starters like Rin, Nagi, Isagi, but no Shiro. So basically the second best striker at the moment wasn't playing. Well, this is because Rin and Shiro, no matter what, had no type of chemistry. Like literally these two were trying to fade in the middle of a match between the third selection. This is when Ego announces that Shiro was going to be used as a joker that replaces Rin if the situation seemed dire. Well, that's what was supposed to happen. We get news that Itoshi Sai was interested in a striker from Blue Lock, and that striker was no other than Shiro. This raised the excitement of the upcoming match by tenfold. Shiro, Rin's number one op, was chosen over him by his own brother. Like, that's low-key messed up, not even gonna lie. To make it even worse, these two were literally role-playing in front of everyone during the game. I think this was done perfectly because we get Shiro introduced as a sort of villain because he eliminated Kunigami from Blue Lock. Now, in the upcoming match, he's supposed to play against his original team and potentially destroy Blue Lock. Now we're going to Shiro getting subbed in. The first half of the match came to an end with Blue Lock leading 2-1. Things looked great for Blue Lock 11. Everyone was happy, thinking that if they could just hold on in the second half, they could win. Then the second half begins, and we see a familiar tanned antenna guy taking in some fresh air. Yes, Shiro was subbed in. From the time I saw bro introduced in that pose smiling, I was like, yeah, he's definitely about to pop off, and so he did. Shiro, with the help from Itoshi Sai, was able to score 2 out of this world goals, allowing Japan's U20 team to lead 3-2. Like, he literally pulled off a Zlatan Ibrahimovic on his second goal. In less than 20 minutes of Shiro being in the game, he had everyone including us readers shaking in our boots. Bro was literally about to get a 35 kill combo on Blue Lock. Well, 36 because of Kunigami. What made the idea of Blue Lock getting destroyed even more possible at the time was when Ego gave his speech that Blue Lock had won even if they lost this match. I honestly think if Shiro was subbed in earlier, Blue Lock might have lost the U20 match. We go on to the remaining survivors training for their upcoming game, and Ego invites everyone to the meeting room. Ego brings up a topic that would be key to Blue Lock's victory against Japan's U20. This is the phenomenon of the flow state, or others may call it the zone. What exactly is flow state? According to my trusty friend aka Google, flow state is the mental state in which an individual is completely immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement and enjoyment in the process of activity. In simpler terms, it is the closest a human can be to perfection. To tap into this flow state, Ego says that there must be something called challenge-centered focus. Basically, this means that the individual must take on a task that it is not too easy, that it is boring, but not extremely hard that it is unachievable. There must be an equilibrium in order to tap into that zone, and this will allow for Blue Lock to win. During the U20 match, flow state is what allowed for so many of these crazy plays and awakenings in Blue Lock. The first person to achieve flow in this match was Shiro when he scored his bicycle kick goal, which I honestly think is the most visually stunning in the entire match. Shiro in the moment expresses that the goal is too far, but he still somehow feels he could score it. We also see Yuki Maya entering the state with his street dribbling, Aiku with his vision of critical points in defense and improved player reading ability, and so many other players tapping into that zone. What made this even so enticing and intense was how on both sides there were players going into flow and how everyone had a different type of flow. We obviously cannot forget the player who, in my opinion, had the most impactful flow of the entire game. That player will be my next reason for this match being so highly rated. Itoshi Rin. Arguably the best player in Blue Lock. Even up to current chapters, I still think he's number one. Everyone was beginning to get into the flow state as the match ticked by. By the last couple of minutes in the game, the entirety of Blue Lock were in the flow. Well, everyone besides Rin. Because the level of play increased, Itoshi Sai kicked up a gear. Rin reacts to this by changing his self-centered type playstyle into defense in order to lock down Itoshi Sai. We fast forward to Sai taking a corner kick. Rin predicts the ball will be going to Aiku, so he tries to intercept. In actuality, however, the ball was planned to barely miss Aiku and aimed at Shiro. Rin believes he is tricked by Sai, but Himsagi comes in clutch, clearing the pass. The counterattack begins, but Rin begins to have a little moment. Rin starts to think that Blue Lock 11 is interfering with his personal issues with his brother that he wanted to deal with alone. He finally realizes for the first time that he is not alone and that he has people who support him. Finally, this was the beginning of Rin's Thorfinn arc. Psych! Well, the complete opposite happened. Rin saw this event in absolute disgust, then he started cooking. He steals the ball from Hirori and proceeds to prove why he's the GOAT himself. Rin lets go of all the things that hold him down, like his brother obsession, and proceeds to put out the Ahegao expression. Rin deliberately takes a route that will have him facing each member of the U20 team and absolutely destroys them. Rin was literally going crazy. He comes face to face with his last opponent, Aiku, drooling at the mouth. Like at this point, I couldn't even defend Rin. Rin feints Aiku, then takes a shot, but it hits the crossbar. Sei gets the rebound, then continues onwards, dribbling through the majority of Blue Lock 11 until he is met by Rin. Rin and Sei have their 1v1, and for the first time, Rin directly intercepts Sei. This ball is hit up and you could guess what I'm going to talk about next. Before I do so, let's briefly explain Rin's play. Rin's play was a product of flow as well as his newfound ego. According to Ego, Rin's flow involves bringing out the best in a player then destroying it with his plays. It was a complete change to his original playstyle of calculations and efficiency, and the opposite of Itoshi Sai's playstyle of destroying beautifully. As weird as it sounds, the new Rin was so much more enjoyable than the bland, edgy, MC rival type character that he was before. This one is short and sweet. Just like the manga did, words are not needed to express how invigorating this scene was. The ball rebounded from Rin intercepting Sei and flew over Aiku's head. With the use of everything he had learned up to this point in the story and his trust that Rin would beat Sai, Gotsage is there to pick up the rebound. With his trademark direct shot, Isagi takes home the victory, saving Blue Lock. This was done outright perfectly. I remember reading the manga and seeing Isagi pop up on the screen with the puzzles. I watched this chapter at least 5 times, and every time felt like the first, with goosebumps and shivers. The entire idea of luck being introduced when Isagi loses to Rin in the second selection, and now him using it here, was just chef's kiss. I do feel bad for Rin though. After all he did, Isagi got all the credit from Sai, and it was almost like he was left in the shadows. Alright y'all, that's gonna be it for today. I'm planning on making some other content on other anime in the future, so if you'd like me to watch and review one, let me know in the comments. Also, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. With that being said, adios and see y'all in the next one.